Hello, this is Giselle Gamby from the Intuitive Pull podcast. We are now in season 5 as we are on the home run for 2024. The next episodes will be daily episodes until the 31st of December 2024, all dedicated to you coming to full and complete resolution around the places within you and the places in your life that are unresolved. When I was driving home again on Sunday and I was recording that note to self that was me speaking my thoughts out, but yet also listening and hearing answers, I heard an expression that I've never heard of before, which I have shared a few times since Sunday, and it's just like bang on. So first of all, not this expression, this is something that I often see in my mind's eye, and I explain it this way, that there is, just think about God, the universe, right? That there's a force that's greater than ourselves. And in this force that's greater than ourselves, I call it God's circuitry. That there's God's circuitry happening in every moment of our lives, connecting us to this person, to that thought, to this dream, to that inspiration, to that fear, to that struggle, to that relationship, to that adventure, to that intuitive pull. There's this circuitry, God's circuitry, universe circuitry that's happening all the time. Sometimes we can see what that God's circuitry is, and we can have moments of gratitude. It's like, oh my God, thank you. I actually see why that had to happen. And often we can see the God's circuitry in hindsight, right? When we can see the bigger picture that has unfolded. Sometimes we have to have absolute trust and faith in the God circuitry, because the God circuitry is leading us to a much longer game. Again, I had a conversation with somebody today who's really in the thick of it. I won't talk about circumstances, but really in the thick of it. Like if you want to live a reality of density, she's in it right now. And I said to her, this is a long game. The wins, I didn't use that word then, but here I will. The wins might not necessarily be seen now. But if amongst the density, you can be grateful for every moment, that this is an exercise of unshakable self-love and self-worth, then that unshakable self-love and self-worth, your participation in seeing it as that, combined with the God circuitry in the long game, you will have what you have been asking for: peace, harmony, calm, joy. You will have that. So that's not new to me. That I have lived from, I've seen, I've even spoken about the God circuitry. But what I hadn't heard before, which I thought was really cool, and again, it was really shouty, and it was started off with the concept of humility. Probably because on Sunday, I was dressed to go for a run, planning on going for a run, and then all of a sudden, I felt the energy of humility. Makes me want to cry. And it was like humility was having a relationship, a love affair with me in that moment. And I just felt to write what I was feeling, notes to self again. That writing ended up becoming a blog. If you are not part of my database, hate that word, database outside of this podcast and outside of the Substack community, I'm now sharing through another database, more personal emails. I'll put a link in the show notes for you to be able to subscribe to that so that you can receive these types of writings as well as other things. So I wrote this note to self about humility. I was having a love affair, as I said. And then I realized, wow, that's actually pretty cool. It might be valuable to other people. So then I massaged it and it became a blog. So probably because I was having this love affair with humility, humility spoke to me. But humility spoke to me in a very shouty way again. And humility said to me, how dare you think you know all the pieces on the path forward? How dare you think you know all the pieces that are to come on the path forward? How dare you think, humility said. And then I heard, God, circuitry does not happen on your personal stopwatch. So I'll say that again. Humility said, how dare you think that you know all the pieces to the path forward into your future? How dare you think that you know all those pieces? God's circuitry does not happen on your stopwatch. And so just because you can't see the God circuitry, just because you can't see what is actually wanting to be manifested for you, does not mean that it does not exist. When we are in the paradigm of resolving our tension, our unlovability, our unworthiness, our not good enoughness, our need to be perfect, our need for validation, our need for safety, our need for control, the God circuitry is going to participate equally in your life and is going to give you a reality in alignment with what you have been choosing. You want to believe that life is like that? Well, the circuitry, the conversations, the meetings, the ideas, the struggles, the constraints, the chaos, the crisis will occur because ultimately that's what you've been choosing. If I feel like I need to be validated, I will never feel good enough. If I feel that I'm unlovable and I go and fix things and help things and be over responsible and try and be loved through all of my effort of helping everybody, I'll only ever feel depleted. If I feel that my safety lies in my need to control, guarantee that life is going to give you some kind of event that is uncontrollable, which is what I often talk about what cancer is. Not always, but certainly from the people that I have coached, cancer comes along, the one thing that they can't control. Now, if you're prepared to front up, full frontal, to face into yourself, to be in it for the long game, yes, there'll be some wins along the way, unless it's extremely, extremely, extremely dense, and those wins will be wins about yourself and your relationship with yourself. Your vessel will become free, and resolving will no longer be your focus. Creational energy on a daily basis. Because the energy that comes with creational orientation feels so good. The reason why I'm podcasting every day, that it has a life force of its own. I have never used the words obsession nor beautiful madness until the last 3 weeks. Obsession in the best of ways and beautiful madness, my new standard. The only reason why I want to do things is if they're at the level of beautiful madness now, is because I fully faced into myself. Like my friend said yesterday, I also don't feel fearful in this moment. Life feels playful. And again, when I go back to that note to self that I voice recorded out on my drive home on Sunday, I heard God, the universe, say, we are not playing with you. We are asking you to play with us. How wonderful is that? We are not playing with you. We are asking you to play with us. All right, the way I want to end this episode is to actually read out 3 pieces that I voiced out in that note to self, which really are the summary of everything that I've just spoken about. Withholds, half-truths and denial is a state of resistance, of resolving perceived consequences seen through the eyes of fear. It's a state of resistance. Whereas trust, faith, and grace are a state of creation. Whilst you do your part to participate in life, from expressing yourself, from leading, from authenticity, from power, joy, withholds half-truths and denial is a state of resistance, and of resolving perceived consequences seen through the eyes of fear. Whereas trust, faith, and grace are not a state of resistance, they are a state of creation. Whilst you are doing your part, expressing yourself and living and leading from a place of heightened authenticity, meaning, joy, and intuition. So I like that, right? One's a state of resistance, the other one is a state of creation. And finally, you participate and contribute to the world. All the while, God, the universe, is symbiotically participating and contributing with you. What I loved about that statement was the with you. You participate, you do your part, you participate and contribute to the world from this place of authenticity, from this place of meaning and purpose and joy, personal responsibility, intuition. All the while, God, the universe, is symbiotically participating and contributing with you. This was a full episode. Would love to know what you received from this. Thanks for being with me. Ciao, ciao.